Okay, let's start. Okay, my name is Swasir and I'm with Renan Maraj today. And today we're going to be presenting our distributed systems project, which is the WeShare expense tracker. So, start. Start with some section A, which was when conducting research for the development of our application, we made use of a plethora of technologies for researching data, collecting and analyzing, such as Excel, Jupyter Notebooks, and Google. So we use Excel to just get a feeling of how the data would look in a database. So the user and their expenses, who they owed, who owes them, how it will look in a database. We just put it into a spreadsheet. Planning and documenting our research. So to plan our research and the research itself, we took a look at how budget and expense tracker softwares look and work. So the two screenshots that are on the slides show it's just a small overview on how a simple budgeting software and expense tracker works. So it shows if you look at the second image, that $300 was over budgeted. So this person spent in excess of $300. So it's just something similar to our WeShare expense tracker that you're gonna see a little later on. So in terms of planning and documenting our research, so as you can see here, where we use normal notepad. So for researching, we looked at the market research. So we identify our target audience. We analyze existing budgeting apps to understand features, user experience, and market trends. So the user needs analysis. So we conducted surveys and interviews to understand our users' budgeting habits, pain points, and feature preferences. And we create user personas to represent different user segments. So feature planning, we prioritize features based on user feedback and market demand. So transaction tracking, budget categories, and expense visualization. We define minimum viable product features for initial development and our design and prototyping. So we created wireframes and mockups in Miro and Figma to visualize app layout and the user interface and iterate on designs based on user feedback and usability testing. The actual development was we built the app using the appropriate technologies. So it was built for web. It's a responsive site, so it can be used on mobile also. But since it's not deployed, it can only be used on desktop and PC using localhost server. Our testing and feedback. So we conducted alpha and beta testing with real users to identify bugs and gather feedback on usability and performance. Iterated, Iteratively refine the app based on the user feedback. And for launching and deployment, we didn't launch it on any Play Stores or App Store. We just released the project to some of the users in campus, and it was handed over for grading within our college. So, how we use the internet in the planning of WeShare. So, all research conducted for the development of our project was conducted through Google. Thorough research was conducted on how a basic banking transaction takes place. We then went on to look at how budget apps are set up and how transaction would take place through them. So, what is the bank transfer and how do they work? So, this we researched this, so this gave us a little idea on how our expense tracking system should work when you owe someone money or when they owe you money. So the customer instructs their bank to transfer the relevant amount to the business's bank account, including the unique reference code to indicate the purpose of the transfer. The customer's bank transfers the funds to the business's bank. The business receives the funds into their account, noting the reference code. How we use computer technology to present our research. So to present our research, we use Canva, which you are seeing the slides on now, and the classic Notepad desktop application, which was simple enough to present complex information. So, research of tools available for web development. Before the start of web development, we conducted research for the best tools for web development. From the list, we chose GitHub, which was used for our development tracking, and Code, which was our IDE and editor, and the web technologies such as HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Our understanding of available web plugins. Our research, aided by computer analysis, confirms the importance of web plugins in improving website functionality and user experience. Integrating relevant plugin enhances engagement and performance, emphasizing their value for a better website. So, in the bottom here, we just have what is a web browser plugin. And a browser plugin is a software component that users can install to handle content that the browser can't support natively. Browser plugins are usually written using the NP API, which is the Netscape Plugin Application Programming Interface architecture. Okay, so why we chose VS Code and GitHub? So for our HTML editor, we chose VS Code because of the huge library of extensions and tools available on it to make the development process simpler and more convenient. We chose GitHub as our maintenance tool to keep our code up to date and prevent any mishaps or broken code from pausing or stopping development. And we use Canva for our website design in combination with Miro and Figma. Okay, section B. So section B focused on the cost benefit analysis for our project development. And due to this being a project required for college and not deployment for public use, we did not have a cost benefit analysis, but as a group, we conducted research into how the cost benefit would look like if we were a professional company. So, in the next slide, we have included our research conducted of the cost benefit that we would put into place. So, cost, initial investment, which would be calculating the upfront cost required to initiate the project, including equipment, software licenses, and hiring personnel. And ongoing expenses would be estimate recurring costs such as salaries, maintenance, utilities, and marketing expenses. The benefit, increase revenue. So estimate the additional revenue generated by the project, such as sales revenue, subscriptions, or increased customer retention. Cost savings, identify cost saving opportunities resulting from the project, such as reduced operational expenses, increased efficiency, or optimized resource utilization. Improve productivity. So, quantify the productivity gains achieved through projects such as time saving, reduced errors, or streamlined processes. So, this specific slide was the research done for the cost and benefit within a professional company in the software development industry. How we prepared costs for elements of work. So, the element that was chosen was the home page and the login page. So, the design and layout. So, the task was we create wireframes and design layout. So, that was done over Figma and Miro. Resources, which is 5 hours of student labor, and cost as an estimate would be 3,000 rands. So, as students, these are just estimate figures and not the actual amount that was spent. So, it's calculated at 600 rand an hour. Content creation, writing content for the homepage, where resources would be used 3 hours of student labor and cost would be 1,800 rand. Coding and development. So code HTML and CSS for the homepage, 8 hours of student labor and 4,800 rand. This is still at 600 rand an hour, and it's just a practical example. Integration and testing. So implement and test interfaces with other components if applicable. So because it's a homepage and a logging page, just yet there won't be any other plugins or components that will be necessary within that stage of development. But when an API would be used and implemented of there to test login, then the cost would and time would obviously go up. So that's 4 hours of student labor and a cost of 2,400 rand. How we prepared time estimate for an element of the web page. So this is still the home page and login page. So the design and layout was create wireframes and design layout, which was 5 hours. This was one of the hardest of there to get the actual design of it and the layout of the homepage and the login page. Content creation, so writing content for the homepage took 3 hours. Coding and development, uh, code the HTML and CSS for the homepage to style it, structure it, and test it took an estimate of 8 hours. And testing the homepage and login page would be 4 hours. In total, 20 hours would be used just to create the homepage and the login page. So the effects of late delivery for an element of work. Late delivery of an element of work can have significant consequences for a project. It can disrupt the overall timeline, leading to increased cost and dissatisfaction among stakeholders. Additionally, late delivery affects related components, causing cascading delays and requiring adjustments to project plans and coordination efforts to minimize the impact of the project success. I'm now going to hand you over to Renan to handle section D. There is no section C for this demonstration, as section C we are being graded on the presentation and demo itself.
Cool. I am now going to present my screen. There we go. Section D. Our understanding of HTML in the context of websites. It provides structure and content of web pages, allowing browsers to interpret and display information to users. In the context of websites, HTML defines the elements and layout of each page. For example, the heading, paragraphs, images, links, and forms are all defined using HTML tags. Outline and physical context of the websites. Navigates and user interface. The navigation menu and user interface elements determine how users interact with the web page. Intuitive navigation ensures that users can easily find their way around the site and access the desired content. Color scheme and visual elements. The color palette used in the web page affects its overall look and feel. Colors can invoke emotions, can convey the brand's identity. Visual elements like images, icons, and graphics also play a role in enhancing the user experience. Layout and structure. This involves how different elements such as text, images, videos, buttons, and navigation menus are arranged on the web pages. An effective layout guide users into attention, making it easy for them to find the information they need. Typical transactions that can be carried out by websites. Payments and payment requests. So in payments, a payment request is paid by the person who received the payment request to the person that sent the payment request. When payment request is paid, the payment becomes an expense for the person that made the payment. Then the expense of the person that sent the payment request is reduced by the amount paid back. Payment request. In this app, you record the amounts you paid as an expense, and you make a payment request for the share of that expense for the friend that you helped. Here's a basic diagram of how that's working. You can see that you have your expenses and the people that owe you. And this right here is the flow of order how things work. where you have each different outlet and thing that you need to spend money on. Here's another diagram showing you how your expenses work, how that works the people that owe you, and how the diagram should look in an order flow and how it should be arranged within the program. The simplicity and ease of use of our website. One, user-friendly design. We've crafted a clean and intuitive design that guides users through the expense tracking process step by step. You can easily navigate between features and access the information you need without any confusion. Streamline expense tracking. Our website streamlines the expense tracking process, allowing you to record expense quickly and efficiently. Whether it is a personal expense or a shared cost, it doesn't matter. With friends or colleagues, family, you can easily log in with just a few clicks. It's also a very convenient payment management. Managing payments is a hassle-free with WeShare expense tracking. If someone owes you money or you owe them money, they can pay you back or you can pay them back just as easily through the website, eliminating the need for awkward reminders or manual transactions. How we use CSS and HTML in the website. This is basically our layouts and our design process for the program. This is how we wanted the colors to be invoked, how we wanted it to look, and how we wanted the overall design to be. You can see that the colors pop, it prompts users to be engaged with the program. It's not just a plain black and white thing that's like bores for the eye. It's meant to attract attention to the users. Now we off back to Swas to demonstrate how these things work. Thank you.
Cool. So I am going to be demoing our final product, which is our WeShare expense tracker. So I'm already logged in here. So let me log out and I'm going to show you our login screen. This was built with HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and our server is created and hosted with Apache Javelin. Um, so our server is written in Java. At the moment, the program is run localhost because we have not deployed it anywhere. So back to our logging page. I'm just gonna show you our validation that was put into place. So if we put an invalid email, let's just say we put a person's name, yet it asks for your email, and we log in, we'll see a message that says, please include an at in the email address. Person name is missing an at. So this means this is not a valid email address. So I'm just gonna put a new one in and call it person4@gmail.com and log in. So we are in with a valid email address. Now let's test the log out. See, we logged out and now a login again. Just gonna choose person4 again, log in, and we're in. Okay, so in the nav bar here, we have four sections, which is our expenses, payment request sent, and payment request received, and our logout button. Up here, we have the WeShare name and who's logged in, so person4@gmail.com. So in the expenses pages, nobody owes me money, and payment request received, I don't owe anyone else money. So let's go ahead to expenses and add a new expense. I'm gonna call it, let's call it another loan. Okay, and when did I loan whoever money? I loaned them this year, fourth month, 12th day, and I'm gonna put the amount at 500 rand. Okay, so now I go to payment request and payment request received, still nothing. But under my expensive, I do have an expense now. When is the date? What? Another loan. Amount spent 500. Payment requested. I don't request anything yet. I haven't received any money yet, and my net expense is still at 500. So now how do I send the request to get my money back? I go hover over another loan, click on it, and you can see here it says submit payment request for the following expense. So the email address of the person who needs to pay me. So I'm just going to use my student email address, and they need to pay me back by the 5th, by the 12th of this month, which is May. But now I've only loaned them 500, but I'm asking for 1,000. And when I do that, you're going to see what the program says. Okay, you get this message, oops, something bad happened. And then down here, it tells you exactly what happened. So the total requested amount is more than the expense amount. So we can't ask more than what we gave. So we need to ask for the exact amount back or less. I'm going to go back to expenses, click on another loan, still use the same email address. And now I'm only going to ask for 450 back. And when I do that and I submit, and there you can see it's gone through. So submit a payment request for the following expense. It was submitted. How much? 450. If I go to this page here, okay, if I go back to expenses, so underneath you can see it's updated and where it says payments requested, it's 450. Payment request sent, here's it here, 450. Due in 4 days. Now, if payment request received, will still have nothing because I don't owe anyone anything. And in order for this to work, they would have to be connected to the server also to make that request. So this is just the simplest and expense tracking and budgeting software can get. Obviously, it can and will get more complex, but this is our WeShare that was made for waiting code, and it does everything that it needs to do. It makes use of HTML, CSS, JavaScript, API validation. I'm gonna hand you over to Renan to continue with section E.
So I will continue now with section E, our web development tools, like the things that we use to complete the program. HTML editors and other website design
Uh, Renan,
maintenance
just put your
tools.
s- Renan, just put your slides
Yep.
up.
Slides up. Okay, my bad. Share screen. Yes. Can you see it? Yeah. HTML editor and other website design maintenance tools. HTML editors. These include popular tools like Sublime Text, Visual Studio Code, and Adobe Dreamweaver, which provides features such as syntax highlighting, auto-completion, and project management to streamline HTML coding. This makes the design process a lot easier. This makes also getting development designs out faster. Website design maintenance platforms. Platforms like GitHub, Miro, Canva, and Figma offer intuitive interface and pre-built templates for design and managing websites without the need for extensive coding knowledge. So this to get your general ideas and planning in order. These help with this, such as Miro board for connecting your different issues and seeing how they all should come together. Advantage and disadvantage of HTML editors and maintenance tools. HTML editors. Advantages include flexibility, customization, and control over code. However, they require coding skills and may have a steeper learning curve. Website design platforms offer ease of use and quick step by step, and also setup, but it may be less customizable and you may have limitations in design flexibility. When you are doing it purely by yourself, you have more freedom to design it in whichever way you want. Website design platforms. Advantages include user friendly interfaces, drag and drop functionality, and a wide range of templates. However, they may have limitations in customization and scalability compared to coding from scratch. File formats associated with websites and its importance. Number one, content representation. File format determines how different types of content, such as text, images, and audio, are represented and displayed on a website. Choosing the right file format ensures that content is presented accurately and efficiently to users. Optimization for web. Certain file formats, such as JPEG, PNG for images, and MP4 for videos, are optimized for web usages. They offer a balance between quality and file size, ensuring fast loading times and optimal performance of web pages. The role of web browser plugins. Plugins enable users to customize their browsing experience, add new features, and interact with multimedia content. Major plugin types. We have media players, security extensions, and productivity tools. For the media players, plugins like Adobe Flash Player and VLC Media enable playback of multimedia content such as audio and video. They also offer a wider exchange of different file types. So, whereas some other platforms may not allow you to view certain things, VLC Media will allow you to view them. Security extensions. Plugins like Adobe Block and LastPass enhance browsing security by blocking ads and managing passwords. 3. Productivity tools. Plugins like Grammarly, Evernote, WebClipper improve productivity by providing grammar checking and note taking features directly within the browser. Thank you. That is our presentation for WeShare.
Thank you. That concludes our presentation and demo for distributed systems, our WeShare expense tracking software for Beating Code. I'm Swastir, that's Renan, signing out.